It's Adrian Bowe, CEO of Adrian Bowe Real Estate Training and Auctions, and also Chief Auctioneer for the ķĆķćķć Group, Ray White in Quakers Hill. It's the weekend of the 1st and 2nd of March, and this is my weekly auction wrap. Now, nationally throughout Australia this week, we had just over 2,500 auctions. Led by Melbourne with an incredible amount of auctions being just over 1,400. Second was Sydney with just over 900. Now that's still 6.4% less than last weekend. So auction numbers are certainly increasing now due to the cash rate reducing, and also a lot more vendors looking to actually place their property on the market. So with buyer activity increased, seller activity more inspired, that tends to lubricate the market in terms of volume. Now, the clearance rate last weekend nationally was only 64%. So we've still got some catching up to do in terms of the clearance rate. Now, personally, I sold 90% of auctions that I conducted. I sold 6 properties, which were absolutely outstanding in terms of the results, all over reserve, all with multiple registrations, and it really comes down to that process. And all these auctions were on behalf of Ray White, the ķដ្ឋćķć Group in Quakers Hill, and there's no doubt that forensic buyer work was conducted throughout the entire campaign. There's no doubt that the presentation was absolutely immaculate for all properties, and there's absolutely no doubt that the pricing was positioned very well. Now, as you may know, I love as an auctioneer to turn up and be briefed by Josh and his associates, Ben, Marin and Sam, around the buyer activity and around their positioning. Now, that only happens because they're having face-to-face meetings. It doesn't happen because they're just calling and saying, "You're still interested in the property? Have you got finance sorted?" That's just not going to cut it anymore. And also, I love to talk to the vendors the week of the auction. I like to talk to them a minimum of twice. I always call them on the Monday leading into the auction to introduce myself, and then I call them on the Friday before the auction once they've had an opportunity to conduct their reserve meeting with Josh, and I will talk to them through the auction process, the possible scenarios, the terminologies, and that way they're extremely comfortable once I meet with them on auction day. Now, what were the terrific results that we had? We had 4 Mount View Avenue in the precinct of Duneside. That was for Jojo Kendall at Ray White Quakers Hill, the ķដ្ឋćķć Group, and we had 14 registrations, an incredible result there, selling for 1.5 million. That's a new suburb record for a single level home. Incredible result. It was a beautiful home, so an outstanding achievement for Jojo and that Duneside market. And Sam Yazdi also within that organisation is a Duneside specialist and was working closely with Jojo on that one. So terrific to be able to reach out to them in the Duneside market. Then the rest of the auctions for the weekend were for Josh Tesselin and his team, and they included 61 Newham Street in Cambridge Gardens. That sold for a great price of $890,000, 8 registrations above the reserve price. A very delighted buyer who ended up in tears of joy, which really makes my job such a beautiful and altruistic feeling to be able to create that type of emotion and certainly be able to create that environment for first home buyers to get into the market, and what a delight it is to see those tears of joy. Then we went on to 1 Luton Road in the precinct of Blacktown, 14 registrations there. That sold for $1,011,000. Now, wow, 250,000 over the reserve. Original condition home. We had the absolute honour of representing a lovely lady who is 92 years of age, still very mobile. She had the home for decades and it was in complete original condition. I just love those tiles in those original bathrooms there, and what an outstanding result. Great block of land, over 600 square metres, and at a very, very competitive auction there. So that would be the standout of the day in terms of amount of registrations and the amount over the reserve price. Then we went on to 45 Rathmore Circuit in Glendenning. That sold for $992.5, and that was also above reserve, a very competitive auction with 8 registrations on that one. Then we went on to 7 Bombala Crescents in the specially core area for Josh in Quakers Hill, and who dominates in Quakers Hill, sells the most properties in Quakers Hill, has the highest market share in Quakers Hill, despite what other agents may claim. And that sold for $1,185,000, a massive result over reserve, beautiful renovation on that particular property with 8 registrations there as well. And then finally was 4 Okra Place, also in the core market of Quakers Hill. That sold for $1,105,000, and again over the reserve, 6 registrations, and that was also a highlight for me because 4 weeks ago these particular owners bought through auction, through Josh, myself and the team in Schofield. So it was a delight to be able to conduct 2 transactions on their behalf, and what an outstanding purchase they made in Schofields, and what an outstanding result they got in Okra Place. So it's been lovely to report to you this week. As always, tune in next week, same time, same platforms, and God bless and live with virtue.